Formula One is about to undergo a revolution. While Max Verstappen continues his journey toward a fourth world title, a storm is brewing behind the scenes at the championship-winning team. Is Sergio Perez, the man who should be fighting side by side with Verstappen, on borrowed time? Did Daniel Ricciardo, the smiling Australian, really have his last dance in Singapore? And who is this young talent named Liam Lawson, who's making so much noise in the corridors of Milton Keynes? Get ready to dive deep into the intrigues, strategies, and decisions that are shaping the future, not just of Red Bull, but of all of Formula One. From Perez's potential retirement to the bold plans for Lawson, even the role that Ricardo might still play in all this, nothing will escape our radar. Click the subscribe button now and hit the bell to stay updated on all the twists and turns in this world. Now, let's get to it. Let's start by talking about the man at the center of this storm, Sergio Perez. The Mexican joined Red Bull in 2021 as the ideal partner for Max Verstappen, experienced, fast, and with the ability to be a great team player. But the 2024 season has been a roller coaster for him. After a promising start, Perez went into a downward spiral. While Verstappen dominates the championship, Checo struggles to break into the top 5. The performance gap between the two Red Bull drivers has never been this glaring, and this hasn't gone unnoticed by Christian Horner. The team boss didn't mince words after the Singapore GP. "We need two drivers firing on all cylinders." Checo had a good weekend in the last race, but he had a tough weekend this time. But what really set off alarm bells were some paddock whispers about a potential retirement for Perez. Is he considering hanging up his helmet at the end of 2024? The internal pressure at Red Bull is palpable. With McLaren breathing down their necks in the Constructors' Championship, the Austrian team needs two drivers consistently on the podium. And here lies the dilemma: keep faith in Perez or make a drastic change for 2025. And speaking of drastic changes, let's move to the next act of this story: Daniel Ricciardo. The Singapore GP might have been the Australian swan song in F1, at least for now. The scenes after the race were heart-wrenching. Ricardo, known for his constant smile, seemed emotional as he stepped out of the car. He took his time leaving the cockpit, savoring every second. In his own words, so many emotions because, look, I'm aware this might be it. I'm also exhausted after the race, so there's just so much, just a flood of emotions and feelings. But why so much emotion? Well, the rumors are persistent. Liam Lawson might take the wheel of Racing Bulls as early as the United States GP. This puts Ricardo in a curious position. Is the Honey Badger truly leaving F1, or is there a bigger plan at play? Interestingly, even while running last, Ricardo made a point of pitting in the final laps to fit soft tires and snatch the fastest lap from Lando Norris, a gesture that directly benefited Max Verstappen in the championship fight. Coincidence or a hint for the future? Christian Horner, always enigmatic, commented, "Daniel obviously wanted to finish the race on a high." But high for whom? Himself, or to show loyalty to the Red Bull family? Now pay attention, as it all seems to be interconnected. Liam Lawson. If you don't know this name yet, it's time to start getting familiar. Lawson isn't a complete rookie in F1. In 2023, he substituted for Daniel Ricciardo for 5 races when the Australian got injured. And he didn't disappoint. His performance caught the attention of not just the fans, but also the Red Bull bigwigs. The rumors are insistent. Lawson could replace Ricardo in RB as early as the next race in Austin. But could the plans for the Kiwi be even bigger? Some say Red Bull is grooming Lawson not just for Racing Bulls, but for a potential seat in the main team in 2025. Christian Horner, in his usual cryptic way, hinted, "The question is, how good is Liam?" And sometimes, tough decisions need to be made to get those answers. A statement that seems to open the door for Lawson, doesn't it? But here's the chess game that Red Bull might be playing. If Lawson impresses at Racing Bulls, he could be promoted to the main team in 2025, replacing Perez. But if he doesn't impress as much, it would leave a seat open at Red Bull that could be filled by, guess who? Daniel Ricciardo. It's a bold plan, but it wouldn't be the first time Red Bull made daring moves in the driver market. The question is Lawson truly ready for the challenge of racing alongside Max Verstappen? Or does Ricardo still have some fire left in him? Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Red Bull isn't just dealing with driver dilemmas. The team faces technical and structural challenges that could shape its future in F1. First, let's talk about the loss of competitiveness. After a dominant start to the season, Red Bull saw its advantage shrink race after race. McLaren, in particular, has emerged as a real threat, not just winning races, but also taking the lead in the Constructors' Championship. But the problems go beyond the track. Red Bull is experiencing a true brain drain. Adrian Newey, the aerodynamic genius behind many championship-winning cars, announced his move to Aston Martin in 2025. Will Courtney, head of race strategy, is packing his bags for McLaren. And let's not forget Jonathan Wheatley, who will be leaving his role as sporting director to join Audi. These departures aren't just a loss of talent. They're a loss of institutional knowledge that took years to build. And here's the kicker. All these changes are happening as Red Bull prepares for its biggest technical challenge yet, developing its own engine for 2026. The question remains, can Red Bull maintain its competitive edge amid so many changes? With so many pieces moving, it's time to speculate about the future. Who will be driving for Red Bull in 2025? The options are many, and each brings its implications. Let's start with Sergio Perez. If he manages a dramatic turnaround in his performance in the upcoming races, there's still a chance he might keep his seat. But the odds aren't in his favor. Daniel Ricciardo is an intriguing option. His knowledge of the team and charismatic personality could be valuable, especially considering the technical changes on the horizon. But does he still have the necessary speed? Liam Lawson is the high-risk, high-reward bet. If he impresses at Racing Bulls for the remainder of 2024, he could be the obvious choice for 2025. But promoting a young driver to race alongside Verstappen is a move that hasn't always worked out for Red Bull in the past. And then there's the wild card, George Russell. Yes, you heard right. Christian Horner mentioned the Mercedes driver, saying, "George Russell is out of contract at the end of next year. It would be foolish not to consider it." A bluff or a real possibility? The upcoming races will be crucial, not just for deciding the 2024 championship, but for shaping Red Bull's future. If Perez does indeed retire, it will open up a coveted spot in one of the top teams on the grid. If Ricardo returns to the main team, it will be one of the greatest redemption stories in the sport. And if Lawson gets promoted, we'll have another young talent to watch in the F1 elite. But the impact goes beyond the drivers. The departure of key figures like Newey and Courtney could alter the technical power balance among teams. And what about you? What do you think? Who should drive for Red Bull in 2025? Share your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. The 2024 season may be coming to an end, but the Formula One drama never stops. See you next time.